Hello and welcome to Elecspo, and once again we're going 100 years into the future. Last week we looked at the craziest thing to happen to all 20 current Premier League clubs by the year 2121. Check it out after this if you haven't already. And today we're going to do the same, this time with 13 of the biggest clubs in Europe. So let's not waste any time. This is the craziest thing to happen in 100 years time to some of Europe's biggest clubs. Let's go. Atletico Madrid sacked Diego Simeone before his 20th anniversary. No, we're not talking about his wedding anniversary, we're talking about his anniversary at Atletico Madrid. We're going right back to the start of this simulation because in 2031, Atletico Madrid gave Diego Simeone his P45. He spent just shy of 20 years in charge. On the 26th of May, he was sacked. Look how close he was to 20 years in charge. He ended it with a league win and 7 cups. Obviously he's since won another league because he won it last season, and that, when I did this simulation, that hadn't happened. But that's fine. Diego Simeone sacked after 20 years. I mean, you would have just left him for a little bit longer, just let him see it out. It would have been worth it, surely. I wouldn't sack Diego Simeone. I'd worried he'd gang up on us and send his mob of Jimenez, Diego Godin and all his other mob just to beat us up in a dark back alley. I'm sure he's a nice guy. Barcelona only won one Champions League in the past 100 years. Firstly, I thought this was weird. I thought the craziest thing was that they were managed by Tom Jones, but I'm going to be honest, by 2121, I don't think the man who sang Sex Bomb is going to be alive in 2121. Then again, he defies time enough as it is with that ludicrous, fantastic voice he's got going on. Anyway, we're not here to talk about Tom Jones. Anyway, he's English. Tom Jones is Welsh, you idiot. What has really happened to Barcelona is they have fell off a cliff in terms of Europe. The last time they won a Champions League was in 2024. That was their 6th European Cup. Since then, they've only been in 2 more finals, in 2028 and 2060. They are no longer a juggernaut in European football, which, to be honest, isn't really a surprise considering they've just lost Lionel Messi, they've shipped off Antoine Griezmann, and they're just a shell of their former selves. I mean, when you've got a team consisting of Luke de Jong and Martin Braithwaite, you're not really expecting to win any kind of European honours, are you? They did win a couple of Europa Leagues though, which is kind of good. They won one in 2090 and 2102, which, considering the state of things at Barcelona, isn't that bad. While things aren't going great in Europe, they are dominating in Spain. The last time they didn't win La Liga was 2089. They've won 90 La Liga titles, an incredible, astonishing amount. They are the dominant force in Spanish football, and a dominant force who can't get anywhere near the European Cup. Real Madrid, a little bit rubbish, to be honest with you. That's the crazy thing about Real Madrid in 100 years time. They just aren't that good. They've just finished 6th in La Liga, and when you look at their recent history, it's an absolute state. 2079 was the last time they won the Spanish First Division title, 42 years ago. What's even worse, previously the most prominent team in the Champions League, in the current day, in reality, the best team in the competition's history, Real Madrid haven't won another Champions League. 100 years into the future, they have still won 13 European Championships. I mean, that's an incredible tally right now. In 100 years' time, it'll be an absolute embarrassment if they haven't won another. Juventus, 95 times Serie A winners. While they're still named after an animal, Juventus are the complete dominant force of Italian football. Just like Barcelona, they are absolutely killing it at domestic level. But at least Juventus have actually won a few European Cups. During this simulation, they won it in 2030, 2067, 2073, 2078, 2114, and finally 2116. They've actually ended up winning more Champions Leagues than Barcelona. On a domestic level, Juventus have won 95 Serie A titles. They haven't been quite as dominant as Barcelona in terms of consecutive wins, but they've won more than them, and at the moment in time, they're the most winningest team in Europe, but not compared to another team who we're going to have a look at in a little bit. In fact, I've got 3 teams who've won more league titles than Juventus, but for now, Juventus 95-time Serie A winners. Absolutely outrageous. They're clearly one of the top teams in Europe as well. They lost the 21-21 Champions League final, they did the same in 21-18 and 21-17. In 100 years time, Juventus are one of the juggernauts of European football. I've said juggernauts a couple of times in this video, but that doesn't matter. Without Cristiano Ronaldo, which 100 years time, Cristiano Ronaldo could probably still be playing, he's that athletic and fit. Not that kind of fit. A lot of women do think he's fit. Anyway, Juventus, they're doing alright, let's move on. AC Milan, Rafael Leao is a club legend. Right, this one isn't very exciting, it's not very crazy either. Probably should have done a bit better for myself here. But that's AC Milan's fault for not doing anything outlandish and crazy. But Rafael Leao is considered a club legend alongside, genuine legends. Baresi, Maldini, Van Basten, Ancelotti. Legends for the San Siro Giants, the Rossoneri. And there you've got Rafael Leao, so good things to come from him in the coming years. They've also got Daniel Davies, who's a club legend. He was the record signing. And when I first said that name, you didn't think he was Portuguese, did you? But apparently, Daniel Davies is Portuguese. 140 goals in 206 Portugal appearances. He was a goal machine for Tottenham, a kind of goal machine for Burnley. And for AC Milan, 170 goals in 476 appearances. Daniel Davies, was Daniel Davies not a US striker like a few years ago? I'm sure he was mint on FIFA. I remember having him on a season with Liverpool. I want to say he played for Bordeaux or Sochaux. Not massively sure. Either way, he wasn't actually very good. He might not even been called Daniel Davies. I think he was. This Daniel Davies, Portuguese. I mean, that's not a very Portuguese name, is it? Maybe I'm the problem here. Let's move on. Inter Milan, managed by an Irishman. Not just any Irishman, Will Ford. He is a 36-year-old who has literally only just finished his first season as a manager. He spent his whole career in England, started at Southampton, ended at Southampton. He played for Arsenal, he played for Watford. He had a decent little career. 156 caps for Ireland, 1 goal, and at 36 he is already earning 170 grand to be manager of Inter Milan. Literally the only thing he's good at is being determined. He's got kind of alright management. He's determined, that's literally it. Hasn't even got his Continental C licence. Yet somehow he is the Inter Milan manager. Not just that, he's the Inter Milan manager who has won the title in his first season. How on earth does that happen? Why does this always happen on simulations? When you go deeper in, the Regents just managed to get massive jobs based on nothing. And sometimes it works out. Will Ford, after just 1 year in Milan, is a Serie A champion. Good on you, Will. Well done. Bayern Munich won the European Conference League in 2102. In reality, that doesn't sound impressive. This is an incredible Bayern Munich team. They've won plenty of trophies. They dominate the Bundesliga. They won the Champions League in 2020. By 21-21, the only European trophy they have won in the past 100 years is this Europa Conference. That's how bad they have been in Europe. Even in the Bundesliga, they haven't been as dominant. They've won 66 Bundesliga crowns, the last coming in 21-13. They are no longer the dominant force of German football. And in terms of Europe, they haven't got to a Champions League final since 2046. That was their only Champions League final of this entire simulation. They made one Europa League final, that was 2053. They didn't win that. In the Europa Conference League, they've been in the final 3 times and won it once. And that is as good as it's gotten on the European stage for Bayern Munich. Absolutely appalling, man, for goodness sake. Borussia Dortmund, they haven't finished in the top 3 since 2049. If you thought things were bad for Bayern Munich, just look at how bad things are for Borussia Dortmund. At least Bayern Munich are still finished in the top 3. They haven't finished outside of the top 3 since 2068. Other than that, Bayern Munich have always been in the top 3. German football is now dominated by Bochum. Hanover have won themselves a few titles, but mainly it is Bochum running the show in the Bundesliga. You've got to go to 2049. That was the last time Borussia Dortmund finished in the top 3, coming 3rd. Even before that, they still weren't that dominant. They had a great spell in the 30s, the 2030s, where they won 5 Bundesliga titles in a row, and that was the last time they won a Bundesliga title. You think things are bad for Bayern Munich, at least they're not Borussia Dortmund. They're still probably producing loads of great youngsters though, so it doesn't really matter, does it? RB Leipzig had their 100th birthday. Yes, while most clubs by 21-21 have been, probably coming up to 200 years or, at least 150 years as a football club, probably more than that. RB Leipzig have only just celebrated their 100th anniversary as a football club. In 2009 they were founded, in 2109 they became 100 years old. In 100 years, yes, they've done great to get to the Bundesliga, but they haven't achieved much else. Europa League runners-up, Bundesliga runners-up, and a German Cup in 2046. That's as good as it's got. They won a couple of Super Cups a long time ago, but at least they probably got a big cake for the 100th birthday. Apparently, Yaya Toure made it himself. It's a bit of an irrelevant joke just because of that whole birthday cake scenario. Yaya Toure's not going to be about in 21-21, is he? And he's definitely not going to be making cakes for RB Leipzig if he is. Paris Saint-Germain, 101-time winners of Ligue 1. We said when we looked at Juventus that the 95 wins they've done in Serie A would be eclipsed at some point in this video. The first team to do it is Paris Saint-Germain, winning the Ligue 1 title 101 times. Throughout this 100-year cycle of simulation, there have only been 9 seasons of which Paris Saint-Germain haven't been the top team in France. And incredibly, Ligue 1 is actually the most reputable league in world football. There we have it, Ligue 1, the most reputable league in the world. It goes France, Italy, then Spain. The Premier League are down to 4th and the Bundesliga are down to 5th. The incredible risers of it, probably Ukraine. Ukraine just behind the Bundesliga, then you've got the Turkish League, the Austrian League, the Romanian League, all on 4.5 stars. There have been some meteoric rises over the past 100 years, but it's incredible that Ligue 1 is actually the most reputable league in world football, and Paris Saint-Germain are the cash cow of the whole thing. They even became somewhat dominant in Europe, winning 18 Champions Leagues to put them ahead of Real Madrid. That's incredible. Lyon 2095 Champions League finalists. While PSG are cleaning it up in France, Lyon are kind of just feeding off the scraps, but they did manage to make a European final, getting to the Champions League final in 2095, which compared to a lot of these teams isn't that impressive, but for Lyon, considering that's their one and only major European final, it's pretty damn good. They're one of the teams that's actually been able to stop PSG in this simulation, winning 4 of the 9 Ligue 1 titles that PSG didn't win over the past 100 years. They've also won 1 Europa Conference League, which makes them just as good as Bayern Munich. Celtic 3-time Europa League winners. Celtic have won 1 European Cup in their history. They did it in 1967, it was the Lisbon Lions I believe, but now they've won another 3 European Cups. Sadly though, it's been the Europa League, but that's not bad, and at the minute they're in a bit of a golden spell in the past 20 or so years. They did it in 2109, 2113 and 2115. 3 Europa League crowns for the Hoops, and over this simulation they've won a fair few Scottish Premiership titles as well, winning 103 league titles. Another team that's won more than Juventus, which takes some beating to be honest. I mean, 95 league titles is absolutely ludicrous, but Celtic have beaten it with 103. Rangers 103 Scottish Premiership titles. Whatever Celtic can do, Rangers can do just as well. Both the old firm giants are level on league titles 100 years into the future. 103 for Rangers, 103 for Celtic. These two teams cannot be separated. The only thing that Celtic have done that Rangers haven't is won a European Cup. While Celtic have won 3 Europa Leagues over the past 100 years, Rangers have been beaten in 2 new finals. They were beaten in 2091 and beaten in 2099, just like they were in 2008. They did win a Europa Conference League though, so that's at least something to get excited about. 2092, and just like Bayern Munich, that is all they've won on the European front. If you say to a Rangers fan in 100 years time, you'll be just as successful as Bayern Munich in European football, and that will be a bad thing that'd spit in your face with iron brew. Right, we will leave things there. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. As always, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to Elecspo, and until next time, we will see you around.